Buenos días. Hoy les voy a hablar del curioso caso de un pueblo andaluz en la Sierra de Cádiz que ha optado por una curiosa respuesta ante la crisis: aprender idiomas, y concretamente el alemán. El pueblo se llama Espera, sí, Espera, y tiene 4.000 habitantes. Su economía dependía mucho últimamente de la construcción. Llegó a tener hasta 37 empresas de hormigón prensado y casi toda la población masculina se dedicaba a esta actividad. Entre tanto, muchas de las mujeres trabajaban en el campo. Pero al pararse el boom del ladrillo, pues todo se vino abajo. De todos modos, es curiosa la reacción que les lleva al aprendizaje de un idioma tan difícil como el alemán, precisamente. Porque en inglés se supone que habría más puertas, aunque en teoría lo hable todo el mundo, ¿no? Una formación específica, temática, para un oficio, una profesión, podría parecer más adecuada. Pero no, los habitantes de Espera, o al menos 120 de ellos, han optado por aprender alemán. Y no es casualidad que la primera palabra que han aprendido a decir en alemán los habitantes de Espera sea precisamente la palabra Arbeit, trabajo. Hay que pensar en las cifras del pueblo para entender este fenómeno. Son francamente escalofriantes. 1.234 demandantes de empleo, y eso en un pueblo de 4.000 habitantes. Algunos sobreviven a base de trabajo esporádico: campaña de la fresa en Huelva, cosecha de la fruta en Zaragoza, vendimia a finales de agosto, aceituna en noviembre. Pero cuando hay una familia que mantener, es muy duro vivir así, al menos por mucho tiempo, sin la menor seguridad de que incluso esos trabajos esporádicos persistan en el futuro. Y en España, más bien en Espera, se vislumbra ya el regreso de la otra estampa clásica de la migración de los años 60, la emigración hacia Alemania. Pensemos que en los años 60 y 70, Espera perdió habitantes. Pasó de 5.000 a 3.000, porque muchos se fueron, principalmente a Cataluña, Francia e incluso a Alemania. Menos en la luna, dicen los lugareños, espereños hay en todo el mundo. Los de los años 60 tuvieron algunas sorpresas, como las retenciones de impuestos, que eran muy altas y superiores incluso para los solteros. Si cobraban 1.000 marcos alemanes, pues recibían solo 500 netos. Pero en fin, las cosas han cambiado bastante. En esa época se emigraba por hambre, y por ahora no es ese el caso de la migración actual, gracias a subsidios, a ahorrillos y desde luego mucho apoyo familiar. La iniciativa que les cuento es por lo menos curiosa. No se me habría ocurrido nunca, a pesar de que a mí me gustan los idiomas, e incluso algo sé cómo aprenderlos. El alemán, dicen algunos intérpretes, solo se aprende bien de la madre o en la cama. Y francamente, dudo que la profesora del pueblo esté dispuesta a eso último. En todo caso, tiene una bien merecida fama de difícil. Por ello, hay que felicitar a esas personas que se han animado a hacer algo distinto ante la crisis. Aunque el primer paso tenga que ser aprenderse el nominativo, el acusativo, el dativo y el genitivo, y cosas tan raras como la luna sea masculina y el sol femenino. Pues mucha suerte y que cunda mucho el esfuerzo. Muchas gracias.
Good morning. Today we're here to talk about a rather strange case of a village in Cadiz, in Andalusia, which has come up with a rather unusual solution to the crisis. It has decided to go for language learning, and not just any language, German. The village is called Espera, and it has a population of 4,000. The economy of this village had been basically construction based up until recently. There were 30 plus companies working only in a special type of concrete, and while most of the men were working in that industry, the women largely tended the fields. But all of that came to a sudden halt with the end of the construction boom. And so now they're dealing with this. But it's quite strange, it seems to me, for them to have chosen German, of all things, as the way out of their current problems. You would think English, for instance, would be more of a door opener, although of course it's also true that more people know it, so it's less of an edge. Or some sort of vocational training, of specific training for a particular occupation, would seem to be a more obvious solution. But whatever the reason, the inhabitants of Espera, or at least 120 of them so far, have chosen to learn German. And not by chance have they chosen to learn as their first word in the vocabulary the word Arbeit, in other words, work. Now, the figures for Espera are absolutely horrendous when you think of the 234 job seekers in the village, with a total population of 4,000. Many people cope by taking seasonal work. They'll harvest strawberries in Huelva, then will go on to harvest fruit in Zaragoza. In August they will go to the grape harvest, and then in late fall they will harvest olives. And they receive a lot of support from their families. But when you have a family to support, it's very difficult to cope with this kind of seasonal migration. It's hard to support a family, and there's no guarantee that the work will still be there next season. So in a way, Espera is now starting to go back to images of what it was in the 60s, when many of the population emigrated to Germany. Now, the village of Espera seems to be returning now to a different image of what it was like in the 1960s, with people emigrating on a less seasonal basis to Germany. Because in fact in the 60s and the 70s, the population of Espera dropped from 5,000 to 3,000, with people emigrating to Catalonia, France, and indeed Germany. In fact, the saying goes in the village that except for the moon, there are Espera villages just about everywhere in the world. Now, in the 1960s, the people who emigrated ran up against a number of surprises, such as high withholding tax, especially for singles. A single man might expect to be earning 1,000 marks and then find that he only had 500 in his pocket at the end of the day. But there have been significant changes since then, and while the people of Espera emigrated out of hunger at the time, they are now not quite in that dire position. They've got subsidies, they've got some savings, and they certainly have family support where that's available. So we can say that this is a rather unusual solution that they've taken. It's rather striking, I have to say. I never would have thought of anything like that, because even though I'm somebody who likes languages and knows how to learn a language, the saying amongst interpreters is that German can only be learned as a mother tongue or in bed. And of course I seriously doubt that the German teacher in Espera would be willing to put up with the second solution. But in any case, German is acknowledged to be a rather difficult language, and I have to congratulate these people who've come up with a different way to combat the crisis, even though that means they'll have to learn the nominative and genitive, dative and accusative cases, and weird things such as that the moon is masculine and the sun is feminine, which is the other way around from the way it is in Spanish. So in any case, good luck.